Harapnya semua sihat. And this is the final live class lah for us for this subject, human capital development. And I'm sorry to change the schedule. Last night it was not appropriate lah for me to conduct the class. Okay, then because we are actually now in the week of revision, kan, bila dah minggu revision ni, supposedly I am not supposed to conduct class, tapi sebab kita dah tercicir kan, so that's why I was thinking to have the class on today at 5 p.m. So I'm so sorry about this. I really actually don't want to disturb your rest time, okay, but I think that starting the class by 5 p.m. should be okay because you have completed your work possibly, and it's okay if you can't actually engage with me, as long as you can hear me, you can maybe if you have any questions you want to ask in relation to your final examination equivalent project. So this is the good moment lah, for you to ask. Okay, and today's objective is first to provide you with some rubrics, the evaluation rubrics for the presentation. Remember, we still have left one assessment that have not been completed by all of you, which I can extend the date towards 31st of January. Okay, so meaning to say that you still have a 1 week lah, few days, around 6 to 7 days to complete your video presentation. Okay, and after you finish your FEP, then after that you can work on your presentation. So that's how I'm planning. So in terms of your assignment and midterm test, okay, I still haven't got time to go through and checking one by one, but okay, you just need to be ready. Okay, whenever I contact you through WhatsApp or through calls, okay, please respond because it will definitely affect your marks juga. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to share the presentation rubrics, the marks. How do basically the lecturer evaluate your presentation? So what are the criteria? How are you going to score the highest marks? So kejap. The issue is I have so many computer desktop. But everything is in Google Drive. Okay, I need to give it to you in the WhatsApp better. Okay, so okay, that is one objective for today lah. And then okay, second objective is to maybe do some reflection lah. So we want to go through the syllabus, kan? Although actually we have not covered every topic in our live class because it's not supposed that way lah. It's not supposed to be that way because MBA ODL is actually an independent study and you can follow through from one topic to another until topic 14, right, by yourself through the platform. But okay, today's agenda is to provide you some like the whole overview of what this subject is about, and it might actually important for your FEEP. Okay, so but I will have around 1 hour for today's session, so hopefully we have enough time to do that lot lah. Okay, so newcomers, ada lagi beberapa orang yang baru sempat nak join. Sekejap ya. Okay. All right. So let me share with you guys the presentation rubric. Hold on a few minutes. Okay, so that presentation rubrics, okay, will be used for your preparation. So I'm going to discuss this. So allow me to share my screen. Okay, so I hope you can see this. Let me make it bigger for you. And you already also have it in your WhatsApp. It's the same thing. Okay. All right. So basically, the marks, if you refer to our lesson plan, okay, the lesson plan tells us that presentation carries only 10%. Okay, 10%. Assignment is 40%. Assignment is 40%. Okay, if I may show you this one so that you can easily see this. Okay, so this one, the marks assessment. Okay, this is our lesson plan. Okay, so it shows that here, it's here. Okay, so your midterm test 20%, assignment 40%, which you have already completed yesterday. I hope that no one has basically missed the deadline. If you do miss, please tell me right away. Okay, right away, tell me right away. So you have to make sure that you also do the Turnitin test. So I have provided the platform for the Turnitin. Someone WhatsApp me asking for the folder to upload the assignment. Okay, so I have done that yesterday, so I hope that there is no problem at all for you to upload your assignment in the Turnitin. So yeah, so that is settled for the assignment. So what is not settled at this point of time is the presentation. So that's why I told you, you still have time until 31st of January to submit your video presentation. So that video presentation must be uploaded to the YouTube, and then you need to share the link in the submission. So that platform have not been ready yet in the ODL platform. I will make sure do that by the time lah sebelum masa 31 Januari tu. But the detailed guidelines on how long will it be, okay, and then what else, how long, how to upload, where to upload, what else. Okay, so will be given in the WhatsApp group as well as in the Author ODL. But what more important is I'm going to share with you today the rubrics. How do I mark your presentation so that you know how you can maximize, how you can put your effort to maximize your marks. Okay, although it's just 10%, this one 10% je ni kan. 10% je, but it carries a lot, meaning it means a lot to you. Okay, And then your final examination equivalent project is 30%. So this will be due on the 2026. Okay, 26. So if you have any questions on the FEEP, we can discuss that later. So let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so we do have first criteria is clarity and delivery. Okay, so clarity and delivery, this is 20 points. So you can have a look at the different rows, okay, shows the criteria and the marks. So the total marks is berapa total? 100. Tapi bukan 30% lah sebab ini untuk subjek I tak sempat untuk Okay. So kalau you all punya tu, you all punya this is for DBA 30%, Doctorate of Business Admin, dia carry bigger marks lah. Tapi untuk MBA 10% sahaja. Tapi untuk MBA presentation for diorang punya graduate project nanti, so it carries also 30%. But for this subject, dia sebenarnya 10%, 10%. Tapi dokumen ni I rasa I kekalkan 30%. So untuk you all punya juga, okay, I think percent tu don't worry so much. Yang penting apa kriteria, because you know already it's in your lesson plan, it's just 10%, bukan 30%. So altogether is 100%, okay, 100%. So what are the criteria? So we have the first one is clarity and delivery. So how to score an exceptional marks. Kita tak nak you go for just settle for less. Tak nak, I tak suka settle for less. Kalau buat tu buat yang terbaik, buat betul-betul. That's why I bagi you masa kan. So you dah settle semua benda, barulah buat video ni. Video ni untuk assignment yang mana? So dia untuk assignment yang nombor 2. Assignment nombor 2 yang mana? Sekejap. Assignment nombor 2 yang mana? Yang you baru just submit semalam. Tentang the individual project 25%. Kan? So I ada juga dekat sini. Sekejap. I tunjukkan. Okay. Ada, tak apa. So assignment 2 lah. Assignment 2 tu you buat tentang apa? You buat tentang project you kan? You buat tentang company, tentang health and productivity of the employees. Kan? Tajuk ni nampak biasa tau, tetapi it carries a lot of weightage. Kenapa? Because of nowadays we are talking about mental health problems. So based on the WHO, World Health Organizations, the statistic is so worrying, membimbangkan. Kalau dulu before COVID, statistik sangat jauh, daripada 10 orang ada seorang yang sakit mental health problem. Tapi sekarang as of 2025, daripada 5 orang, okay, 1 orang. So dia dah sekali ganda naik kan, daripada 10, 1, sekarang 5, 1. So which is so worrying, and that is why I decided to have this assignment for you, and you have to present your assignment ni kepada apa tu for your project. Okay, cuma untuk dalam you all punya guide assignment tu, okay, you all punya assignment tu, sekejap Okay, kalau you tengok ada 2 version. Dalam kriteria yang I berikan dalam sekejap let me open it for you so that you pun clear lah So assignment questions. Dalam assignment questions ni ada juga apa tu? Rubrik, tapi dia rubrik yang ringkas, dia ada kriteria sahaja. Okay. So bila dia ada kriteria saja, okay, I sharekan yang ni. Okay. So remember dokumen ni tentang you punya assessment. Kita ada assignment 1. Okay. Assignment 1A 15% and then assignment 1B. Okay, 25%. Okay, and then bawah tu kita ada presentation 10%. Okay, remember dalam dokumen tu I ada letak semua benda ni. Okay, so basically semua benda ni berkait je dengan apa yang I nak tunjuk dalam rubrik yang terkini. So ini bukan dikira rubrik, ini dikira assessment criteria. So sepatutnya I kena bagi you rubrik tu lebih awal lah, tapi tak apa. So jangan gunakan yang ini, I akan gunakan this one instead. Tapi markah dia 100% kepada 10% sahaja. Okay, so because yang ini, rubrik yang ini dia lebih detail. You know, dia ada how you can score to get an exceptional, the 4 marks. So 4, kalau you dapat 4 marks, then you equivalent to 20 points. Okay, so macam mana nak capai? Well, most of you guys are working, so I'm sure that you are so good at presentations. Cuma you must make sure that in dealing with project punya presentation, you really kena follow lah rubrik ni so that you will not miss anything. So that is first, content and clarity and delivery. Second, content and engagement. So macam mana you nak engage? So kalau dalam video, okay, kalau dalam presentation secara physical, so you can engage by asking questions kan, tanya, okay, siapa dekat sini ada mungkin pernah berhadapan dengan situasi masalah productivity dekat tempat kerja. So you can ask the participant to get them engaged. Okay, ask the audience lah to get them engaged. But this one dalam online, you kena ada cara macam mana you boleh attract the attention of the audience. So obviously audience-nya I sajalah kan, because I saja yang akan tengok untuk evaluate. So macam mana you nak ni? So kita ada banyak cara. First, kita boleh guna storytelling. Second, you boleh letak video ke kan. So tak adalah you bercakap dengan something yang very vague in your mind, walaupun you ada slides, you ada muka you ke kat bawah tu kan. So you know what I mean. So presentation you bukan dry, it must be something yang engaging. So how to make it engaging? Some people gunakan Kahoot kan, video kartun tu. Bukan Kahoot, apa tu? Apa udah kartun punya ni kan, AI punya tu. So kalau you nak guna orang AI, boleh je sekarang ni you letak voice over, tapi to me engaging ni kena macam mana cara you untuk you nak make sure orang terus tengok, berterusan tengok you punya video tu. So caranya salah satunya storytelling lah kan. Storytelling tu maybe you can start with any stories lah yang you can tell about this productivity and health dan sebagainya. So you must be creative. So tu 20 points. And then visual aids, you ada guna apa? Kan, visual aids ni maybe dalam presentation you, sebab tu I kata kalau you ada video, maksudnya dia video dalam video, you know what I mean. Kan, video, you buat video recording tapi dalam you punya presentation tu ada video yang you nak tunjuk the situations ke ataupun yelah, something like that. Apa lagi yang you guna? Some students dia sambil sambil berdiri, lepas tu dia ada whiteboard dekat dia punya belakang, they can write, just like act yourself like a trainer to give some content presentation, something like that lah. So visual aids tu kena something yang helping you a lot in being creative on how you can use more visual aids in your presentation. Then time management. Time management ni to me, I tak nak video panjang-panjang. So to me, if you can prepare a video, maybe 5 to 7 minutes is enough for your presentation. Macam pendek kan, maybe I boleh jadikan dia 5 to 10, takut nanti tak cukup pula masa nak masukkan konten. 5 to 10 minutes sahaja, so minimum 5, maximum 10. So kalau you capai dekat 5 pun okay, no problem. Kalau you sampai 10 pun no problem. So 5 to 10 minutes. So I will put in clear guideline nanti dalam WhatsApp dan juga ODL so that you know what to expect. You know the time frame. Okay, 5 to 10 minutes only. Okay, so how you're going to use, what method that you're going to use, you're not going to Google Meet ke, you're not going to Microsoft Teams ke, you're not going to Zoom ke untuk record, it's up to you. So you can be very flexible lah. So as long as the video is uploaded, uploaded in the YouTube. So just give us the link, the link to watch the video. Okay, and then apa lagi? Q&A session. Of course, you all tak ada Q&A session. Tapi what I'm thinking to do is actually bila you upload dalam ODL tu kan, dalam ODL, so there will be muka dah merah dah ni, kenapa ni? Tutup sekejap. Hopefully should be okay. So apa yang I'm thinking to do is actually to provide you kena ada, mungkin you upload dalam ODL tu, so kat situ I akan tanya soalan. Ataupun the soalan will be given to you maybe through I might call you to ask questions, or I might WhatsApp you, okay? So there are many possibilities lah for Q&A session. Yang pasti, first I will try to have it macam mana nak jadikan dia di dalam ODL. Okay, masuk dalam MBA ODL untuk you jawab soalan yang telah diberikan. Okay, right. Okay, and then kita ada activities such as case studies. Ni memang tambahan lah. Case study, scenario based or storytelling. So dalam presentation you tu, sebaiknya dalam apa tu sesi ini, selain daripada you present apa yang you dapat, you kena ada elemen-elemen macam ni lah. Storytelling tadi yang I mention dari awal untuk engage, so dia pun ada markah juga dekat sini. Lepas tu ada tak case study, mungkin case yang you bincangkan company tersebut, you explain further, ada ke tidak maybe apa tu something yang boleh enhance understanding. Sebab bila kita present kan, kita nak enhance the understanding of people about what the case is all about kan, apa case yang you buat dekat company tu kan. So how did you explore the case? Okay, the company apa link between the health and productivity of the employees, macam mana nak discuss everything. So the points kena terangkan dekat sini. Okay, so that is about the, tutup video lah dia macam merah. Okay, so that is about the rubric. Okay, so this is the rubric. Now kita dah selesai objektif nombor 1. Hopefully you got it clear. Kalau ada question, if you want to ask, you can just write on the chat, or you can just put up your hands and ask. And open your mic and ask. But if you don't, I can proceed to the slides presentations that I have. Okay. Ada yang nak tanya ke? Silakan.
Assalamualaikum, Doktor.
Salam, Amir.
Maaf ganggu. Doktor, saya nak tanya untuk yang kita punya presentation ni, tadi Doktor mention kita kena upload ke YouTube saja, Doktor.
Upload kat YouTube, lepas tu link tu masuk dekat MBA ODL.
I see. Kalau kita share through the Google Drive?
Share through the Google Drive. Okay, the reason why, kenapa nanti sebenarnya you akan gunakan space banyak lah dekat Google Drive tu. Tu je. Kalau you nak share dekat Google, cuma Itulah I prefer YouTube lah, sebab bila I tengok you link tu, dia pun makan I punya Google. Betul tak? I punya space. Betul tak? Amin. So find a way macam mana nak buat upload you punya video dekat YouTube. Mudah je, tapi I pun tak pandai buat. I suruh orang buat kan.
Okay, Doktor.
Boleh? Alright.
InsyaAllah saya cuba. Okay. Terima kasih.
Okay. Sama. Ada lagi soalan? Okay, kalau tak ada kita proceed. Okay, so slides ni I akan share kan. Okay, cuma slides ni dia tidaklah berfokus pada human capital. Okay, dia adalah human resource management. Sama je. Okay, strategic. This one is strategic human resource management. Okay, tapi the content is not very, you know, deviation dia tak jauh sangat. So anyway, you can refer this as a, actually you can also refer dalam kita punya modul dalam ODL. Kat situ pun dah lengkap, semua ada. Tapi kalau nak slides, there will be no problems for me to share. Nanti I sharekan dalam group. Okay. Cumanya untuk ni leadership memang banyak lah. Dia memang panjang slide ni ada 139 total slides. Dia topik leadership agak panjang. So cuma dalam you all punya syllabus, leadership dia dah cramkan. I dah cramkan sikit aja dalam 1 week or 2 weeks punya content. Tapi untuk ini so dia banyak on leadership. Okay. So apa yang I nak fokus today, okay, kalau kita tengoklah slide ni kan. Sekejap let me just dia punya proses dalam HR dia punya proses yang terlibat. Okay, I hope that I belum discuss lagi yang ini. Succession planning. So ada beberapa perkara yang I nak tengok. So I might already have shared this dalam live class sebelum ni, tapi maybe I cannot remember, but sekejap I sebenarnya nak share slideshow. Okay, all right. So this is basically the roles, okay, HR function. Okay, so HR function, when we talk about human resource, human capital, talent management, what else? People management, kan? So these are all different terms, various terms, but actually carry the same meaning. Okay, but some of the term, of course, dia beyond that lah, macam talent. Okay, dia beyond lagi lah, dia go far, quite extensive to the development as well. Sebab itu kalau after you finish your MBA nanti, if you're thinking to continue your DBA program kan, Doctorate of Business Admin dengan UKHM. So I also the one who teach that subject. So kita gabung Human Resource Management and Capital Development. So kita gabung dengan training. So training. So which is quite extensively we talk about training and development. But today we'll be focusing on this. So I'm trying to bring the gist lah dalam HR punya human capital punya subject hari ni, because it will be the last live class for us. Okay. And hopefully this sharing will benefit you when you want to prepare you punya final project, okay, final exam project. So when we talk about the HR function, sekarang ni dia tak hanya fokus pada mengurus cuti, absenteeism issue, gaji, payroll, compensation. Dia sebenarnya beyond that, beyond that. So we know that basically kalau kita refer kepada Dassler lah, Dassler is one of the scholar dalam HR yang kita dalam merujuk dia kan. Dia bercakap pasal these four functions of HR. So sebagai HR department, if you are HR exec or HR manager, you are not only thinking about uruskan people sahaja, tetapi you juga kena strategic focus. Kan? All this while you cuma urus people, betul tak? You cuma urus people in the sense that tadilah, cuti lah, apa lagi, gaji lah, claim lah, semuanya. But you have to also focus on the strategy. Meaning to say whatever the decisions in your HR department kena relate to the strategic aims of the organisation. Sebab itu you dikategorikan sebagai change agent. Change agent. You will be the one who bring change to the organisation. Kalau ramai orang tak tahu, apa benda strategic focus, strategic aim of our organisation ni, you are the first person yang tahu. Kan? You are the first person yang tahu dan bring people towards it. So whatever the designing of the compensation, recruitment, nak pilih orang, semuanya kan, selection, semuanya berpaksi kepada the strategy focus. So that is strategic. So kalau you tengok yang bawah, operational focus. Of course operational focus tadi termasuklah kepada apa saja kerja-kerja operasi lah. Tapi kalau kita cakap pasal employee champion ni, you sebagai HR, you menjadi orang kata tulang belakang. So because we know employees, they keep on, you kerja kilang kan, you jaga HR dekat kilang. So Bangla kejap-kejap datang, komplain itu, komplain ini. So you are the one who listen to these employees to the bottom line level. At the same time, you become the gatekeeper kepada top management. So that's how you are, we call it as employee champion. So at the same time, you are the one yang pastikan employees ada motivation untuk kerja kan. Setengah orang dah tak ada semangat, dah tak ada minat because of maybe the lousiness of the management, the slow, lambat macam siput punya proses, claim pun 2-3 bulan tak dapat, you know, things like that happen. So HR, dia bukan saja urus yang mundane, normal, the common, but they are also focused on the motivation, recognition, the compensation packages yang attractive kan. Lagi-lagi bila you nak employ expatriate, betul tak? Expatriate. Kalau you bekerja dekat MNC, multinational companies, you berhadapan dengan ramai expatriate yang macam-macam negara, macam-macam culture, macam-macam perangai kan. So tapi you tak ada compensation package yang menarik. So how then you're going to bring people with talent if you don't have that kind of, skills, tak ada package yang menarik dan sebagainya. Okay, so that is employee champion kat situ. And HR function juga sebagai admin expert. So you're the one yang tahu itu ini semua you tahu. Kan? Dan of course strategic partner lah bila you ada sistem company kita ni, strategic focus ada, operational focus ada, people and then system. So apa sistem yang you gunakan untuk HR? Kalau you still lagi attendance semua pakai card, punch card kan. So is there still, orang dah go beyond that kan. Orang dah kerja pakai retina je sekarang kan. Kan, pakai retina mata dah tahu datang kerja kan. Pakai apps, you can be anywhere in the in the locality kan, tapi you dah kira masuk kerja dah. So yeah, so things change and you also have to to go to the change process juga. Okay, so that is basically the strategic focus. So ni juga some traditional HR and versus strategic HR. So kita boleh lihat dekat sini, sebelah kiri is the criteria, tengah traditional and strategic. So strategic ni memang sangat is the ideal way of handling HR department. Okay, ideal way of doing all the functions of HR, because kita nak apa saja yang kita buat dalam department HR tu mesti align dengan strategi. So kalau kata the first point is about responsibility of HR, kalau dulu dia jadi staff specialist, tetapi dekat strategi HR ni line managers tu tahu semua tentang HR. So line managers could be not only HR managers yang tahu tentang all the matters in HR, but marketing manager, R&D manager, operation manager, apa lagi, finance manager. So they all know, they all have a at least basic understanding about their employees' needs, motivations and things like that. So it becomes the responsibility for line managers. Sebab itu kalau kita tanya, kenapa staff dekat department finance ada seorang tu selalu absent. So it's the responsibility of finance manager to make sure that apa dia nak jawab kan. So dia bukan terletak kepada HR manager. It's actually the line managers is important person to know the situations of the people so that they are the first person to know lah. Maksudnya dia ambil berat, dia tahu, dan that is what we call as strategy HR. So the focus pula, of course, traditional HR fokus kepada employee relations. But the strategic HR, dia nak partnership with internal and external customers. Sebab itu dalam HR ni, we need to, kita ada good collaboration, not only with the internal people. Sebagai HR, kita ada good connection, good networking, good relationship with everyone dalam kita punya company. Not only with everyone in the company, but also with the stakeholders outside the organizations that can actually, increase the reputation of the organization. So company akan cakap, vendor-vendor yang maybe yang berurusan dengan kita akan cakap, baguslah company ni berurusan dengan ni. Kan? So they actually giving you guys the mouth-to-mouth promotion or something like that. Okay. Then number 3, role of HR, traditional HR, transactional, change follower and respondent. Tetapi strategi HR is more on transformational, change leader and initiator. So ni dalam topik leadership berkait juga. So how we want to make sure that peranan HR ni dia bukan hanya transactional. Transactional ni macam kita jual beli kan. Saya beli, saya dapat barang kan, you bagi saya barang, saya bayar you, something like that, transactional. Transformational ni dia lebih kepada bukan sahaja setakat employee tu datang kerja dan dapat gaji pada hujung bulan, dia transform people. Dia make people aware of their talent. They make people, do better in whatever the field, in whatever task that they are doing, but they actually motivate people, transform people to do better and better every day. Something like that, become a change leader and initiator to the good things happens in the organizations. So that is what we want in HR. Okay, initiatives for traditional HR, slow, reactive and fragmented. Kan, slow, reactive, cepat, orang kata melatah kan. Fragmented, dia terpisah-pisah. Tapi kalau strategi HR dia fast moving, proaktif. Orang belum tanya dia dah sediakan jawapan. Something like that. And integrated. Okay. Alright, lepas tu time location. Untuk traditional HR, short term for strategic HR, okay, short, medium and long term. So dia ada dia punya time frame dia. Okay, time frame. And then control bureaucratic roles, policies, procedures. Okay, organic. Okay, strategic HR dia organic. Okay, of course lah kalau kita lambat, slow ni biasanya disebabkan oleh birokrasi. kan, birokrasi yang sangat banyak, ada polisi yang ketat, so kita tak boleh fleksibel. Tapi dalam strategi HR kita nak jadi something yang organic, flexible, and whatever that we can do that is necessary to make us succeed. Okay, the job design, of course, tight decision of labor, independence and specializations, but strategy HR biasanya lebih broad, flexible, cross department and teams. Okay, and key investment untuk strategy HR biasanya capital and products, but strategic dia lebih kepada investing in people and the knowledge. Sebab tu kita ada term knowledge management kan. Sekarang dululah tahun 2000 disibuk dengan knowledge management. How do we basically store knowledge? Kalau tacit knowledge tu apa? Tacit, explicit. Explicit ni something yang kita boleh belajar daripada buku kan. Tapi tacit ni something yang contoh kita punya, we are really inspired by an idol kan. Siapa kita punya idola kita dekat company kita? Maybe ada someone, CEO maybe, or CFO maybe, or I don't know, CHRO, sekarang orang panggil CPO, Chief People Officer kan. Orang-orang ni maybe you adore dia orang, you inspire dengan dia orang punya tindakan. So how then you manage to learn from them? Tacit knowledge that they learn from their experience, they learn from, maybe they have already failed many times, but they make a comeback and then succeed kan. So you nak belajar benda tu daripada dia kan. So how that tacit knowledge is being translated into into explicit knowledge, jadi buku ke kan. Sebab itu ramai sekarang ni kita tengok tokoh-tokoh ni lah, macam kami lah sebagai academician kan, kita diminta untuk membukukan buat biografi of siapa tokoh Mahathir. Mahathir of course dah ada biografi dia kan. So daripada situ kita boleh document kan dia punya perjalanan hidup dia sepanjang dia menjadi Perdana Menteri kan. How many years, jadi 40 tahun ke apa kan. So we learn from it, explicit to tacit. But nowadays anak-anak kita generasi millennial kan. So dia gunakan sangat mudah kan all these AI untuk dapatkan tu, but of course it's not similar, tak sama kan, tak sama dengan the tacit knowledge yang kita dapat. Okay, so of course last point, accountability. Traditional HR dia jadi cost center, tetapi strategi HR dia jadi investment center. So that is basically the differences between the two. Okay. So there are a lot of things lah yang kita boleh tengok dekat sini. Nanti you all boleh baca mana yang rasa relevant for you to do your FEP and maybe to your work, your future work or whatever it is. So it might be relevant. So I will be sharing with you these slides later. Okay. So untuk yang ini, you can see that model ni menjadi sangat relevant dan important dalam kita melihat HR tu apa sebenarnya. Sebab itu kalau kita tengok dekat sini, corporate strategy ni lah yang menjadi tunjang utama. Dia lah menjadi basis kepada semua kan. So corporate strategy ni dia bukan sendiri tiba-tiba wujud. Dia mestilah refer masa nak buat corporate strategy tu kan, orang-orang strategik ni kan. So dia rujuk, dia buat external environment, dia evaluate on the competition, dia review government regulation, dia buat technology assessments, market trends dan juga economic analysis. So dia buat semua this. Dipanggil external environment analysis. So ada satu term yang dipanggil untuk external assessment ni, PESTLE. PESTLE. Apa dia punya akronim ni stand for apa? P for politic, E for economic, S for social, T for technology, L for legal, dan E yang last tu sekali untuk environment. Sebab itu kalau you all familiar dengan SDG dan ESG tu menjadi satu tunjang. Because companies yang ada buat program-program aktiviti yang related to ESG, dia boleh dapat tax relief. Kan? Kenapa bila dia ada cater to the triple bottom line punya teori? Kan? Apa? 3 elemen. Dalam triple bottom line teori ni ada 3 elemen. Apa dia? People, 3 P's. People, planet, dengan profit. 3P. People, planet, profit. So apa saja yang dibuat mestilah tentang people. Memberi social impact kepada people. People tu siapa? It can be all the stakeholders lah. Community pekerja kita, community sekitar, siapa lagi? The vendors, the suppliers, semua tu people. And then planet. Planet of course kita nak pastikan apa saja bisnes yang kita buat dia menjaga planet kita. Kan, planet bumi kita. Tak ada pencemaran, kita mengekalkan kehijauan, green environment, kita circular economy. Yang ni semua term-term baru yang you kena belajar lah. Kan, circular economy tu apa? Kita nak pastikan carbon pelepasan karbon kan dikurangkan dengan operasi bisnes kita dalam 30 km radius. So makna kata kita mendapat supplier untuk produk, kita hasilkan produk kita bagi bisnes kita tu boleh dicapai dalam 30 km radius. So that is circular economy. Yang mana kita nak mungkin because I am actually involved in the project, social impact project lah dekat UTHM, which kita juga salah satu universiti yang dapat projek daripada kementerian. Kita buat central kitchen. Kita punya penerima manfaat adalah usahawan-usahawan Asnaf, B40 kan, yang dia ada bisnes tapi dia ni memang pagi pagi makan pagi lah, setakat niaga tepi jalan, tak buka kedai, tak ada duit kan. Macam tu lah. So tapi dia kategori asnaf yang kita dapat senarai nama daripada Majikan Besar Negeri Johor. So what do we do? Kita sediakan dia dengan kitchen. Kitchen yang dilengkapi, kitchen ni guna sama. Kitchen ni guna sama. Kitchen ni guna sama yang kita ada jadual untuk setiap usahawan ni gunakan, dan kita ada juga bagi retort services untuk dia orang nak retort produk dia, yang mana kita bantu dia untuk dia elevate, increase dia punya sales. Kita bantu dari segi market access kan, kepada kadang kita punya especially usahawan-usahawan mikro ni kan, dia orang ni berniaga pandai, masak sedap, tapi dia tak ada tempat dia nak jual kan, sebab dia sibuk dengan production tapi dia tak explore market yang lebih besar. So kita bantu dia on that. So kita dah berjaya tingkatkan, dan come to the third P lah, profit. Profit. So dia dapat profit yang banyak. So kita secara tak langsung dia grow, dia dapat open up more working opportunities dekat kawasan sekitar. So ni kita panggil circular economy, ada social impact, ada elemen ESG juga. ESG tu apa? Environment, social dengan governance. So ini semua adalah you all tengok under ni lah United Nations punya SDG 17 ya, Social Development Goals, ada 17 goals. Salah satunya to elevate kurangkanlah the poor kan. So that is the project yang kita dapat funding banyak juga lah, total dekat 500,000 project tu. Okay, so yeah, so that is about external environment. So dalam HR, patah balik topik kita, dalam HR kita tengoklah kan, internal environment apa pula, yang macam mana, how do we basically evaluate our internal environment dalam company kita untuk kita develop our corporate strategy. So kita tengok apa culture kita, orang kita ni kan, apa structure yang ada dalam organisasi kita, apa politics yang terlibat, macam mana nak elevate the employee skills, what are the past strategies that have been used. Semua ni ada apa tu ada weightage dia untuk menentukan what is the corporate strategy. Bila dah ada corporate strategy, barulah kita turun kepada each business unit strategy. So dalam HR, apakah strategi HR? Tu yang HR strategi. Planning, apa you nak plan? How many staff do you need? How many, if you are going to open up more branches, so how many employees should you need? So this is under planning. So dalam planning juga kita ada staffing, recruitment and selection. Lepas tu kita nak design of jobs and work system yang kat tengah ni kan. So what workers do, what workers need. So dalam ni barulah kita nampak dia punya function dia. Kat tengah ni HR information system. Okay. And then kita ada staffing, training, performance management, compensation and labor relations. Okay, so inilah yang you nak kena explore dekat company yang you are going to do. Okay, staffing, training, performance management, compensation. Apa lagi yang you nak kena explore? That's about it lah. So basically, you kena relate balik dengan strategi. Always remember, sebab you kena ada dua proposal, dua cadangan. Macam mana you nak cadangkan kepada company yang you explore tu, kan? Macam mana you nak cadangkan penambahbaikan of the current practices yang relate dengan objektif organisasi dia. Mungkin selama ni dia dah kaitkan dengan objektif pun kan. Cuma how can they improve in terms of the linking the function with the strategic objectives of the organization. Okay, so I think I stop there. So it's already 5:56. If you have any questions, so basically slides ni dia banyak 139. Tapi I focus on few yang important, okay, that actually that can, increase your understanding on how to prepare your final exam project equivalent. With that, okay, I thank you very much. Kalau ada nak tanya soalan, silakan. If not, then we can leave lah. Okay, so quiet means understood lah. Kan? So I believe that you have progressing well. Okay, hopefully you have already started you punya FEP tu 30% tu. Please don't take it for granted. Ada yang kata, doktor, sebenarnya final exam lebih senang lah daripada buat final exam project macam ni. Kan, tapi untuk ODL memang semuanya final exam equivalent project because we are giving you guys the flexibility. Cuma I nak ingatkan it's important lah for the quality of the project yang you buat tu. So genuine kena ada kan, and I lebih suka baca you all punya, your reflection kan, so while doing the work. Okay, so with that, I thank you very much. I would like to apologize for any shortcomings kan, dah jadual tertidur kan, lepas tu maybe I respond late dalam you punya WhatsApp ke. But anyway, I pray that you all semua lulus dengan cemerlang with flying colours untuk subjek ini, dan I doakan mudah-mudahan for the coming project, for the coming semester, you also survive lah. Sebab more tougher subjects kan. So if you feel that you want to stay connected with me, boleh je WhatsApp I ke kan. Kalau you have problems, you nak jumpa, if you are around here kan. So maybe you are also, I don't know, you have business that you want to collaborate with me, because I sekarang dekat private wing UTHM. So I memang cari project, especially on trainings, on education, part-time education ke, you nak jadi agent. So maybe if I may actually say something about our summer aviation camp. Kita ada buat satu camp untuk, especially kita buat juga untuk orang Malaysia, tapi kita target kita orang student luar negara yang nak buat aviation camp. Camp ni maksudnya dalam tempoh seminggu, diorang datang ke UTHM, diorang akan ada dapat belajar on the simulation menggunakan flight simulation, dan dia ada dapat 2 jam punya session terbang, terbang dekat, duduk kat cockpit. So ada juga drone session, lepas tu kita ada the rest of the days tu diorang akan ada cultural camping, a lot more activities lah on the dekat camp tu. Dia macam camping aviation. So if you think that you tengah cari project ataupun ni, you can come to me to discuss more about any collaboration opportunities. Okay, so with that, I thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and have a nice day. Bye bye semua, take care. Sama-sama, Atasha, Amir, sama-sama. Okay, sama-sama Syahijah. Take care. Bye-bye.